The war room fell silent as Admiral Reeves slammed his fist on the table. The holographic display above them painted everyone's faces in an eerie red glow, showing the advancing alien fleet, the largest concentration of Dominion warships ever recorded. 3 colony worlds lost in 2 weeks, he growled. Millions dead. And now they're coming for Horizon Prime. Captain Tom Reed studied the tactical display, his weathered face betraying no emotion despite the knot forming in his stomach. 20 years of fighting the Dominion had taught him to hide his fear. The alien forces outnumbered the human fleet 5-1. Our current defenses won't hold, said General Wilson, stating what everyone already knew. Even if we pull ships from the outer systems, we're looking at total defeat within days. Reed watched the room of military leaders, the last defense of humanity's core worlds, as grim acceptance settled across their faces. He had seen that look before, on too many battlefields. The look of soldiers who knew they were about to die. There is one option we haven't discussed, said a quiet voice from the end of the table. All heads turned toward Admiral Jones, the oldest officer present. At 86, he was a relic from the early days of the war, kept on as an advisor more out of respect than necessity. His gnarled fingers traced patterns on the table as he spoke. Project Phoenix. The room erupted in murmurs. Reed frowned, trying to place the reference. That's just a story, scoffed General Wilson. A bedtime tale to help recruits sleep at night. What's Project Phoenix? Reed asked. Admiral Reeves sighed heavily. A supposed superwarship developed in the early days of the war. Experimental technology, unprecedented firepower, nearly invincible defenses. Not supposed, corrected Jones, his voice stronger now. Real. I was there during its development, before they took it deep into uncharted space. If such a ship existed, said Reed, why haven't we deployed it before now? We've lost millions of people, dozens of worlds. Jones looked at him with ancient eyes. Because Phoenix was never meant to be used except in humanity's darkest hour. It carries technology too dangerous to risk falling into Dominion hands. And you think that hour is now? Asked Admiral Reeves. Jones nodded slowly. I do. The room fell silent again as the implications sank in. Even if this ship exists, said General Wilson, how do we contact it? How do we find it? I have the protocols, said Jones. But there's no guarantee they'll respond. Or that they still exist at all. Reed watched the holographic display as the red dots of the Dominion fleet crept closer to Horizon Prime, home to over 2 billion humans. If the stories about Phoenix were true. Do it, ordered Admiral Reeves finally. Send the signal. But we proceed with conventional defense plans in the meantime. As the meeting adjourned, Reed caught up with Jones in the corridor. Admiral, what aren't you telling us about Phoenix? The real story? Jones smiled sadly. The real story, Captain? Phoenix was the culmination of humanity's most brilliant minds and darkest impulses. A weapon that frightened even its creators. You make it sound alive. In some ways, perhaps it is. Jones lowered his voice. If Phoenix answers our call, pray that it still remembers it was built to save humanity, not just to destroy our enemies. Deep in Dominion territory, Fleet Commander Krell reviewed the battle plans with satisfaction. The humans had fought bravely for 2 decades, but their resistance was finally crumbling. The human defenses at Horizon Prime are substantial, noted his second-in-command, but our numerical superiority ensures victory. The humans are clever, warned Krell. They often find ways to compensate for their technological disadvantages. What can they possibly deploy that we haven't already countered? Krell had no answer. 20 years of warfare had taught him to respect human ingenuity, if nothing else about the species. Maintain alert status, he ordered. I want no surprises. At the edge of charted space, an automated relay station suddenly activated for the first time in 15 years. It processed the encrypted signal, verified the emergency protocols, and transmitted a message into the darkness beyond human space. 3 days later, as Captain Reed prepared his crew for what might be their final battle, an ensign rushed to his quarters. "Sir, long-range sensors have detected an unidentified object approaching at impossible speed." Reed hurried to the bridge, where his crew stared at their instruments in disbelief. "Whatever it is," whispered his tactical officer, "it's bigger than anything we've ever encountered. And it's heading straight for Horizon Prime." The legend, it seemed, was about to make its appearance on the battlefield. The bridge of the UES Defender shuddered as another Dominion energy blast struck its failing shields. Captain Reed gripped his command chair, squinting through the smoke that filled the air. "Shields at 14%, reported Tactical Officer Davis, her voice steady despite the chaos. "2 more hits and we're done." Outside the viewport, the colony of Horizon Prime stretched across the curve of the planet. Millions of civilian lives depended on the thin line of human ships now breaking under the Dominion assault. "Engineering, I need more power to the forward shields." Reed barked into the comm. "I'm giving her all she's got, Captain." Engineer Mike's voice crackled back. "The reactor's already redlining. We push any harder and we'll blow ourselves up before the Dominion can do it for us." Reed watched as another human cruiser exploded under concentrated enemy fire. That made 5 ships lost in under an hour. The battle was turning into a massacre. "Communications Officer Lisa, any word from command?" Lisa pressed her hand to her earpiece, brow furrowed in concentration. "Still nothing clear, sir. Too much interference." Reed didn't need orders to know they were losing. The Dominion fleet had emerged from hyperspace with twice the ship's intelligence had predicted. His Defender and the remaining human vessels were fighting a holding action at best, a suicide mission at worst. "Sir." Lisa suddenly straightened. "Priority transmission coming through on an encrypted channel." "Put it through," Reed ordered. Admiral Reeves' face appeared on screen, his image breaking with static. "All ships, immediate withdrawal to coordinates being transmitted now. I repeat, all ships withdraw immediately. This is not a defeat, this is a tactical repositioning." Reed stared at the coordinates in disbelief. "That's the Vale Nebula. There's nothing out there." "Orders are orders, sir," Davis said quietly. Reed hesitated, watching another colony defense platform burst into flames under Dominion weapons. Every instinct screamed at him to stay and fight. "Sir," Lisa said, "I'm picking up strange transmissions from beyond the system edge. Something massive just dropped out of hyperspace." "Dominion reinforcements?" "No, sir. The signature doesn't match any known Dominion vessel. I've never seen anything like it." Before Reed could respond, his tactical display lit up with new alerts as Dominion ships began breaking off their attack, redirecting toward the new arrival. "Whatever it is, the Dominion doesn't like it," Davis observed. Reed made his decision. "Helm, set course for the rendezvous coordinates. All power to engines once we clear the gravity well." As the Defender pulled away from the battlefield, Reed accessed the long-range sensors. Something was definitely approaching, something enormous that had the Dominion forces scrambling to regroup. "Lisa, any identification on the new contact?" She shook her head. "Nothing, sir." "Wait," her eyes widened as she listened to her earpiece. "Sir, I'm picking up a transmission on an old military frequency." A voice repeating one word. "What word?" Lisa looked up, her face pale. "Phoenix." The ship lurched as Engineer Mike pushed the damaged engines beyond their limits. Through the viewport, Reed watched as the stars began to streak with the jump to hyperspace. His mind raced with possibilities. Could it really be true? The legendary warship that many believed was just propaganda invented to boost morale? Lisa, pull everything we have on Project Phoenix. I want to know what we're heading toward. As the Defender and the remnants of the human fleet retreated toward the mysterious coordinates, a massive shape moved against the stars, approaching the battlefield where the Dominion now waited. The legend had arrived, and the true test of humanity's last hope was about to begin. The human fleet gathered at the coordinates in the Veil Nebula, a ragtag collection of damaged vessels. The purple-tinged gases of the nebula swirled around them, providing some cover from Dominion sensors. Captain Reed stood on the Defender's observation deck, counting the surviving ships. Less than half of their original force had made it. The others were either destroyed or still fighting rearguard actions to allow civilian evacuations. "Sir," Lisa's voice came through his communicator. "Admiral Reeves is requesting all ship captains for an emergency briefing." When Reed entered the Defender's conference room, the holographic projections of 24 captains were already waiting, along with the flickering image of Admiral Reeves. "I know you all have questions," Reeves began without preamble. "But first..." He was interrupted as every ship in the fleet simultaneously reported the same thing, a massive energy signature approaching their position. "It's here," whispered someone. The nebula gases parted as something emerged, a ship so large it dwarfed even the fleet's biggest carrier. Its hull was sleek black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, making its true size difficult to gauge. No visible weapons or propulsion systems could be seen, yet it moved with impossible precision. "Is that Dominion?" asked one captain. "No," said Reeves. "That's Phoenix." As if responding to its name, the massive ship broadcast on all frequencies, HMSS Phoenix reporting as requested. Standing by for integration with Defense Fleet. The voice was calm, almost mechanical, yet unmistakably human. A new hologram appeared in the conference room, a man in an unfamiliar uniform. Commander James of the Phoenix, reporting for duty. "It's been a long time, Admiral." 70 years, Reeves replied. "We thought you might never return." "We go where we're needed," said James simply. "And we've been watching. The Dominion fleet will reach this position in 6 hours. They've committed nearly 80% of their forces to this offensive. Which means they're vulnerable elsewhere," Reed realized aloud. James nodded, looking directly at Reed. "Precisely, Captain. Phoenix wasn't built just to defend." A grim smile crossed his face. "It was built to end wars." "All ships, maintain formation," Captain Reed ordered as the human fleet approached the small Dominion outpost. This was Phoenix's idea, a test run against a minor target before engaging the main Dominion force. The massive black ship moved silently at the center of their formation, still revealing no obvious weapons or engines. Reed watched skeptically from the Defender's bridge. "I still don't understand how something that size can move so quickly," Engineer Mike muttered beside him. He had barely slept since Phoenix appeared, too fascinated by the legendary vessel. "You'll get your chance to see it up close," Reed replied. Commander James invited key personnel to board after this engagement. The Dominion outpost finally detected them, launching a squadron of fighter craft. Standard procedure, exactly what Phoenix had predicted. "All ships hold position," Commander James's voice came through the comms. "Phoenix will handle this." Reed raised an eyebrow. The fighters were approaching fast, at least 30 of them. With what weapons, he wondered aloud. His question was answered as sections of Phoenix's smooth hull seemed to ripple. Pinpoints of blue light emerged, so small they were barely visible. Then, without warning, energy beams lanced out in perfect synchronization. Every Dominion fighter exploded simultaneously. Silence fell across the Defender's bridge. "Target neutralization complete," reported Phoenix calmly. "Proceeding to Phase 2. The massive ship accelerated toward the outpost. As it approached, the station's defensive guns opened fire, only for the energy bolts to vanish before touching Phoenix's hull. "Some kind of advanced absorption field," Mike whispered in awe. "They're not just deflecting the energy, they're capturing it." Phoenix extended what looked like a simple probe toward the station. A pulse of energy traveled along it, and suddenly all lights on the Dominion outpost went dark. "All systems successfully neutralized," Phoenix reported. "Station intact for intelligence gathering. No casualties." Reed exchanged glances with his officers. The entire engagement had taken less than 3 minutes, with 0 human casualties. "Now do you believe in legends, Captain?" Commander James asked over a private channel. Before Reed could answer, alarm signals flashed. "Multiple hyperspace signatures detected," Davis shouted. "Large Dominion force incoming." The trap had been sprung, but whose trap was it? "Evasive maneuvers," Reed shouted as 5 Dominion cruisers emerged from hyperspace directly above them. The Defender lurched sideways, barely avoiding the first barrage of energy weapons. This was no random patrol. Someone had tipped off the Dominion about their location. The human fleet scattered in practiced formation, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. "Phoenix, we need support," Reed called over the comm channel. No response came as the legendary warship suddenly found itself targeted by all 5 Dominion cruisers simultaneously. Massive energy weapons converged on Phoenix's position, creating a blinding flash that forced Reed to shield his eyes. When the light faded, Phoenix was still there, but something had changed. Parts of its hull glowed red, and it was no longer moving with the same fluid grace. "Direct hit to our primary systems," Commander James's voice crackled through, strained for the first time. "Absorption field at critical levels." A second volley struck Phoenix before it could maneuver. This time, the massive ship visibly shuddered. Sections of its outer hull broke away, revealing mechanical structures beneath. "It's not invincible," Lisa whispered, voicing what everyone was thinking. Reed made a split-second decision. "All ships, converge on Phoenix. Defensive formation Delta. We need to give them time to recover." The human vessels moved to surround the wounded legend, small shields protecting the massive ship like ants defending a fallen giant. The Defender took position directly above Phoenix's command section. "Captain, we're being hailed from Phoenix," Lisa reported. "They're requesting engineering assistance." Reed turned to Mike. "Looks like you'll get your tour sooner than expected. Take a shuttle and a team. Find out what they need." As Mike departed, Reed studied the tactical display. More Dominion ships were arriving. This was clearly a coordinated effort specifically designed to destroy Phoenix. "They're afraid of it," Reed realized. "They know what it can do." A massive explosion rocked the Defender as a Dominion energy lance pierced their shields. Warning alarms blared across the bridge. "Captain!" Davis shouted over the noise. "Phoenix is powering down all systems. They're going dark." Reed watched in horror as the lights across the legendary warship's hull began to fade one by one. The legend was dying before their eyes. "All hands, brace for impact," Reed ordered as another Dominion blast rocked the Defender. Through the viewport, he watched Phoenix drift lifelessly, its once imposing hull now dark and scarred. Engineer Mike's voice crackled through the comm, "Captain, I'm inside Phoenix. You won't believe this place." "Save the tour for later," Reed snapped. "Can you get it operational?" "That's just it, sir. It's not damaged, it's transforming. The ship's core is reconfiguring itself." On the main display, the Dominion commander appeared, mandibles clicking in what passed for their version of a smile. "Human vessels, your surrender is expected. The weapon you call Phoenix is neutralized. Your resistance ends today." Reed ignored the transmission. "Mike, what do you mean, reconfiguring?" The ship's AI explained it. Phoenix was built with multiple combat configurations. What we've seen is just its stealth mode. Now it's changing to. Mike paused. They call it Wrath configuration. A low hum suddenly emanated from Phoenix, felt rather than heard through the hulls of every ship in the fleet. The Dominion vessels hesitated in their advance. "Energy readings off the scale," Davis reported, eyes wide. "Phoenix is drawing power from somewhere." The black hull of the legendary ship began to glow with lines of crimson energy that spread like veins across its surface. Sections of the hull shifted, rotated, and expanded, revealing massive weapon arrays previously hidden beneath its smooth exterior. "All human vessels, clear a minimum safe distance of 5,000 kilometers, Commander James's voice came through, strong and confident once more. "Phoenix rising." "Repeat, Phoenix rising." Reed didn't hesitate. "All ships, fall back now." As the human fleet retreated, Phoenix completed its transformation. What had been a sleek, mysterious vessel was now a bristling fortress of weapons, its size seemingly doubled as hidden sections of hull extended outward. The Dominion fleet opened fire with everything they had, only for their energy weapons to be caught in swirling vortices that formed around Phoenix, the deadly energy redirected back at its source. 3 Dominion cruisers exploded simultaneously. "Phoenix engaging primary weapons," Commander James announced calmly. What happened next would be described by survivors as both beautiful and terrifying, a display of firepower beyond anything humanity had ever wielded. The legend had risen, and the battlefield would never be the same. The memorial service was held on Horizon Prime, beneath open skies that Dominion ships would never threaten again. Captain Reed stood in his dress uniform, addressing the assembled crowd of military personnel and civilians. 3 days ago, Phoenix saved not just this world, but perhaps all of humanity, he said, his voice carrying across the silent gathering. The price was high. Before him stood a simple monument, a black obelisk representing the legendary ship that had vanished in a final, blinding explosion that crippled the entire Dominion fleet. The war that had raged for decades had ended in a single, decisive battle. Phoenix wasn't just a weapon, Reed continued. It was hope given form. A promise that humanity would endure. After the ceremony, Engineer Mike approached him, eyes red from lack of sleep. "Captain, I need to show you something," he said quietly, handing Reed a data tablet. On the screen was a waveform, a faint, pulsing signal from deep space. "I detected this while running maintenance on our long-range arrays," Mike explained. "It's using the same encrypted frequency Phoenix used." Reed studied the signal. "Could be debris, automatic systems still functioning. Or it could be more," Mike insisted. "The explosion that destroyed the Dominion fleet, it wasn't just destructive energy. It created a tear in spacetime. I think Phoenix didn't die. It went somewhere else." Reed looked up at the stars becoming visible as dusk fell. "Are you proposing a search mission?" "I've already plotted the coordinates where the signal is strongest." Later, in Admiral Reeves' office, Reed learned the truth about Phoenix's original purpose. It wasn't built just to win wars, Reeves explained. It was designed to preserve humanity itself. Phoenix contains the sum total of human knowledge, culture, art, everything that makes us who we are. If we had fallen, it would have carried our legacy to the stars. Reed thought about the faint signal, pulsing like a heartbeat from the darkness. "Permission to take the Defender and investigate the signal, sir," he requested. Reeves smiled. "Granted. But remember, Captain, some legends are meant to rest." As the Defender prepared for departure, Reed stood on the observation deck, watching Horizon Prime recede below. Somewhere out there, Phoenix waited. Not just a legend anymore, but a promise of return. Legends, after all, never truly die.